Hello folks and welcome to an InkDependence.com brief video review and water drop test. Today we have a twofer. I don't usually combine ink reviews like this, but this time I will, because these are the only two colors that I think Duke makes, or at least the only two I've ever seen. And I got both of these at the same time, so I figured I might as well just go ahead and do them together. These are Duke Blue and Black. You might have seen Duke pens around. They make some interesting pens. You can get them in a few places on the interwebs. I haven't ever seen them in a store. This is what the bottles look like in the boxes. This is a blue and a black ink. Wait, did I mix these up? Yeah, I did. Let's go this way. One thing about these bottles is they both look the same. They both look like this. Both are sort of black glass with a rubbery blue thing on the bottom, a little emblem, a little medallion. There are no other markings at all on these bottles. So in order to figure out what's in there, you either have to look at the box or open up the cap. So that's one of those things. I've only seen these inks at Bertram's Inkwell. I haven't seen the inks anywhere else, though I have seen Duke pens in other places. So if you want to get some of this ink, go and check them out at Bertram's Inkwell, I think it's .com. Bert is a really cool dude. I usually see him at pen shows, and that's where I got these. They're 80 ml bottles. You can see there's a lot of Chinese on the bottles, or on the boxes. I don't know what any of this says. I assume it says Duke ink is great. Duke high grade right ink. Yep, there you go. Bert was trying to get rid of these, I think, at the end of a show. I forget which show it was. It was either Raleigh or DC. Those are the only two I get to go to, really. And he was, I think, selling them 2 bottles for $10. Usually they sell for $7.95 on his site. For 80 mils, that's actually quite a lot of ink. The only bottles that are bigger than that, I think, are Noodlers. Those are 90 mils. So this is just shy of 3 ounces of ink. So pretty good stuff. All right. I said I was going to do these together because they're not particularly remarkable inks. They're fine. The black is only kind of okay for me. You can see, let's see if I can focus here. You can see it's kind of not really a dark black. If I get closer to the lens, maybe. Yeah, it's not a gray, but it's not very saturated. It's like a light black, which is kind of weird. Maybe that's the thing you're into. There are a few others. I think this Caran d'Ache Cosmic Black down there looks kind of light, but I remembered that being a very dark black. But, anyway, not super dark, really, this Duke Black. I had these in the same pen, so that's another thing. The blue, on the other hand, much better, I think. Take a look at that. Get out of the sunlight here a little bit. Get a little more light on the subject. I really like this blue. If only they behaved a bit better than they actually do. You can see it's not quite like anything else here. The thing it reminds me most of maybe is Franklin Christoph's Blue Denim. Maybe a bit like that. I didn't have that inked up anything there, and I don't have it in anything at the moment, so I can't check it out. But that's kind of what it reminds me of. It's kind of like a real dark denim-y blue. It's almost blue-black, but not quite. So this one, good color. The problem with both of these is they tend to feather spread and bleed through average papers, which is not great, but it's also not super unexpected. These aren't very expensive inks. If you're using them on good papers, they're perfectly fine. I mean, they look great on this Rhodia. They work just fine here. You're not going to see anything coming through the other side, of course, even on these. This kind of Rhodia paper seems not to be quite as ink resistant as the dot pads I was using, which is why I switched back to the bigger sheets. But nonetheless, pretty good. So if you use only good paper, these will perform just fine for you. And both of them flow perfectly well. I've got no problems there. And maybe if you use them in a real fine nib, they'd be better. This was a Knox Fine, which is kind of medium-ish, really, I think. Although it might be a Knox Medium. The problem with these Knox nibs, they're great, but they're not marked, and I mixed them up early on. So I kind of put all the nibs together and guess which one's smaller. I need probably a micrometer for that. Anyway, let's go ahead and do the water drop test on these. I'll do black first. There it goes. Scraggles, don't bump the tripod. I'm using a tripod. Alright. You can see the black sort of swirling away right there. I wasn't really expecting this to be particularly water resistant. That's kind of not. I've seen worse, but this isn't great. I'll go ahead and put some on the blue right here while we're... Oop, there we go. Alright. So let's blot up the black. Yeah, not bad, actually. Not bad. You can see some of it come off. There's quite a bit here on my my wiping cloth here, but yeah, the lines are still perfectly legible. I'd say that's got some moderate water resistance to it. And the blue, also not terrible. Some blue came up, of course, but not most of it. Most of it stayed put. So there you go. A little bit of water resistance for you, so that's good. And put that in the pro column for these. They are cheap. They come in big bottles, and they're moderately water resistant. Not perfect, but moderately. All right. So the only real problem is if you're using it on some papers, this does just fine on, and there are papers that it's going to bleed through. The Staples paper that I use for my copy paper test, just for consistency, didn't have any particular problems with this ink for whatever reason. There was some bleed, some feather, a little bit of spread, but really not a whole lot of any of those, so that's pretty solid. Alright, here are the chromatographies for this one, and just blue and black, pretty much. There's not really anything, nothing else going on. You got some blues in the blue, and just kind of, I don't know, black? Yeah, I don't know, maybe a skosh of purple is in there, just sort of around this ridge line here. But otherwise, nothing else really in there. Blue and black. And they both stayed kind of at the bottom. So it kind of was just a hint they might have some water resistance. Alright, so that is it. That is Duke Blue and Duke Black. That is your twofer. Sorry I've been kind of slowing down the videos right now. I'm getting swamped with schoolwork at the moment. Way too much grading to do, and so I've been, I don't know, a little bit lax on my ink reviews, but there you go. That'll pick back up in the near future. It's kind of getting better on the other side of spring break, thank goodness. Alright, so there you go. Duke Blue, Duke Black. If you like the looks of these, if you have to get yourself a couple of bottles, go for it. And, I mean, it's a lot of ink for not a lot of money. So if you're using, I don't know, Duke pens or Hero pens or, Wing Sung, something like that, and they have fine nibs on them, go ahead and get yourself some of these. They're not bad, and they're super cheap. If you just want to, have some ink to play with, get this stuff, because it's cheap. So there you go, and I'll see you at a fountain pen show. If you see me, say hi. Alright, last bit. If you like what I do here at Inkdependence and want to help out, please go to patreon.com/Inkdependence to find out how you can help me. Trust me, every little bit helps. Become a patron, support Inkdependence, and I'll love it. I'll love you for it. Alright, thanks folks. Peace out.